So what, I'll call the meeting to order. Anyone who wants to address the board?
No, does anyone want to address the board? Sign that sheet itself.
Okay, the first one on the agenda is personnel. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. So the first thing is, so much right here. Okay. Okay, so then we're voting into law. I just want to tell the people who are retired, we should be tenured, that this will be very well, appreciated in our celebration. So we're not ignoring it. Okay, so all in favor? Well, thank you. First of all, congratulations to all the tenure. Congratulations there. Approve the targets that they come through, the last of the months. What we do in every April meeting is we honor all the standards, we honor all the targets. And then obviously there's a huge percentage of retirement party at the end of the year as well. So another way to say thank you for the years. It's amazing if you add up all the years, it's hundreds of years. And it's pretty amazing that that's much staying power 25, 30, 35 years. It's in their community. It says a lot about so what we do every year is we have a way to honor everyone. So let's start with Jen. Good. You all do it. And then what we'll do after we do this, we'll go out and have a little bit of a celebration. Mark meetings, incredible cheesecake every year. We have second. And enjoy each other. And again, say thank you for how many years and extremely tough, daunting business that people expect everything. Do it for 20, 25, 30, 35 years. So thank you.
Oh. See ya. Some of you guys are probably like, oh, are you this person? I've never done it. She does great. But it's a special occasion. Let's get through some of the highlights. We actually in this the first time. So let's. All right. So. Yeah, they're remember, and she came to us he gave her district that in Buffalo. We want to send yeah. Here's that patients. If you want to break, so if you want to know what set it in time for why some students who want to have one walking across that stage, you can look right there. It does teach. Yeah. See a horrible thing like that. Long before it means the thought part. To try to drive towards this. She did direct review. She knew early on that if you want to learn about these environments. She also recommended with numbers, one of the most powerful she trained saw the value of all of this. We talked about the relationship. Of students. Bridge the gap. And special education, making sure that our students all. What I love is that she decided she never said she knew. The lifelong learner, the true facts for her work, starting from 5 most recent ones, I will be all of it. For her most recent audit, which is building a it never stops to improve. Most people in their life. Done for over a month. You know, we're building these sections, going into student, so that she can continue to help our the peers or students to the community. If you want to next chapter, we're obviously this comes down. Next year. And much more of whatever is due. Here. Because I see that you can always always first voice is finding the rhythm for the first time. There's a good chance that after even before she officially wore it, very bad. That is all of this. I can we moved after we wanted it. Frankly, we were working out the steel for the so we were that's not preschool, pre-K, and we're talking little. Most consistent or not. Calm and measurability. She turned her patient before the children. Her goes far beyond exceptional students. She can and together explaining all the jargon it's speaking of therapy. She's fantastic. Teams. She's a professional and never said the law of the state around special education. She got it, she's quite established. I think see children. Give them the tool to connect with the world. You have been invited and you're so glad you made your okay, so we take something back to like completely out or the case of was beyond making that fall. Should be one of the darker short English speeds for all years. I'm never adding something fair. Should have worked. 4 years ago, I was flat. That I incredible master. The lesson set. Where are they to survive? She decided to go all the way to special ed. While we're or they are like more than a teacher. She's our AI through growth. She is capable for she have it for wellness. And she works hard to help students at school that need that extra. There's probably have like, and you did it with great intelligence. So, sometimes we're really tired. You also don't want to get your start. Lisa and I interviewed her years ago, and that makes sense. You know, and we realized, you know, not in person met. Well, but that's not what we did. Just have a. Video Americans, under the things. She would have. Without them. They're super powerful. They're innovative. She. First off, need some of them. Standard today are since 1994. She has been a champion for students who need it the most. We need a lot of state school community. Counties for special education and AFS. These are goals that patience, sexualized knowledge, and the qualities that we has been fun. She wasn't just a teacher. She is was instrumental in providing instruction. They are the driving force in the success of our plan. Word is that even after she never speaks. She is constantly researching, looking for best practices, pushing the thought abroad. She is also a partner initially that helping us share our culture, hope, and of supporting students. Now, is training lesson plans. I know won't answer. No, and I'm so piece of your campus They share moments. And you expect peers to read parts and you're even fully enjoy the doors. How do we find a lot of students to meet and read together? For our teachers, and in school is strong. Thank you. Right. My speech for the first so who are actually matter. Just bring that. It is a knowledge such alternative creators, each bringing their own unique experiences to our school family. Actually, after in your work, creating a warm host of your kind presence is allowing curiosity to thrive and students to feel truly supported. You serve as a light as they prepare for the big chapter. How do you affect your level of travel and opportunities for the wonderful graduate school? You're in these full times fifth grade classroom. We are especially grateful for the Lady Fox's community organizing school events, ensuring that we stay connected as a faculty. Your dedication to service is so much knowledge, character, and confidence. It has been a joy to share in your life milestones from your family and your loved daughter. Words of our right style. You continue to have needed your spirit and dedication in your thanks. So, thank you for the rest. Hey, us. With us. You joined schools family during one of the most challenging chapters, serving as a building subject to COVID. Your representing with a huge help. Since then, we have walking alongside you as you reach beautiful milestones. Getting married to welcoming your beautiful son home in Syria. And the lesson we have embraced the challenge of cultivating critical thinking in our fourth graders. And your impact is seen in the selfish organization for your family. We are so lucky that each place to grow your family. Well, as a team, school, you have been a place. Really exciting. It's been a fun to see truly celebrated from being an individual part, leader, big person, and enjoy life. We want to so glad you are Christian. future of our school. Each of you is proving that you possess a heart of ambition that will see the continued impact you will make. We are just lucky to have you. Sure.
I also going to, I'd like to talk about Shelby, Florida, and Daniel. That was reading. When Shelby and Danielle look at our next department, we knew we were getting too young educators who lived with this potential. What we didn't realize is that we were getting a pack of field that rivals any great historical movie. Like X and Y, like a seventh grader with uncharged from book, Dr. Fitzgerald with a hamster. Together, they haven't been fun. They've helped move the entire CMS math department. Whether it's vertically aligned, finding new ways to convince 13-year-olds that Levin's actually useful on math. Their impact has been. They made math. Incorporated student interest, rewarded the kind of work, brought you to. If you want to understand a lot of time for this, you may not know if the work together is not like when the ball rings. You will find it at Yellow Show on the softball side, where they've mastered the art of statistical analysis, which you don't like just hit the advising our chip promote positive school culture, and encourage every school event. If there's middle school dance, fundraising, or a spirit day involving questionable concepts, these two are normally there to meet each other. In math, we talk about two lines to go in the same direction and never meet. Thankfully, Shelby and Danielle's career events with the exact opposite. They're spending where they met right there, joined forces, they created a commitment, changed the lives of our students, and said, 10 years of lives, it's a commitment. It's the district saying, we've seen what you do, and we don't want to do it without it. Danielle and Shelby, you make math less scary, sports more fun. You help make CMS and Canada respectable. Congratulations on your day. We are so lucky to have you, and you are officially signed.
You're gonna show up. Must know. Okay, so I'm here. Is hired this year and I could skip over a lot, but I think she's worth thinking about, so. The aspect that someone else spends your own community is great measure. Such measure never happens. It rather involves many special personal attributes, and I should say apply those bring them with them and forget about using them long. Apply attributes are important, initial, intentional investments, and this is what all of this stuff is. The students growing out of primary school environments, our hope is that they take with them people or and share with them, sometimes by words, but mostly by action. Listening ears and subtle guidance.
say, oh, well, very good, a little bit. Much of the time, this happens without this. It is, however, the value still in a community by people like and only serve to expand their spirit in the private world at all. Fostering the type of there's many attributes that I would identify in this person, but I have three tonight. I'm not going to keep you on. The attributes are loyalty, dependability, and skill. Now, I would say first about loyalty, every team leader desires that they first trusted, got to know how to do it. So they choose to send you a letter. And the longevity of health service is proof of her loyalty. Ellen became much better in 2010. She monitored. She's also very dependable. I'll tell you this, you have put the papers down and hold up 10 fingers. This is unheard of. The 8 years that I've led this team, I don't think you're back to that and be that incredible. And it's not that you can't get it. I'm saying there's a level of dependability. The last thing, we'll talk about skill. In almost case, this skill is twofold. Initially, in our department, because of privacy, safety for the kids, safety for most skill of this type is not automatic, but rather required by continual learning comes about in many forms. Ellen has humbly absorbed guidance and applied lessons, thus achieving a basic skill. Secondly, I propose the school bus driving different than working. You don't haul food, you don't haul gravel. Packages or boxes. We haul children who love, precious, non-replaceable, and they hold a lifetime. I want to get to the substance and broad our community. This gives her well on their career to serve us greater by having our team turn to student management. You have this empathy. So, in her skill set, is very important. We often face challenges in terms of student management on the buses. And even believe it or not, in our circles, are talking about this, right? How do you do that? Negative comment about people have positive comments. I just want to give you one case story. So we all asked. I want to educate was just on. Yeah, she was one talk at work about a child she had a book. I offered a go-to solution to help her. What did I say to her? Just writing. What do you think she said? Something responded to me. Something to the effect of. But no. I understand the type of situation this child is living in. So. And thinking that maybe not. For me, very much, we see that day. You see, we all have a story, desirable. From that story, we have told perspective, how we see and operate. How it takes for stories that really wonderful gift of empathy, serve her as well. If you was here, I would congratulate you. I'm happy forward, and hold on that. Sorry. Tonight, we need to honor the contributions to our school. We thank her tonight for 17 years of loyalty and ability. The attitudes that are not that very important. Thank you.
Debbie Carroll, I'm not up here either. I will still like way. Well noted. Today we gathered out to mark into the chapter to celebrate. For 27 years, Debbie was the Canajoharie school. She's been an active, strong, and a friend. Debbie has always been helpful, thanks, teammates, but to all the students she served, whether it's service, ready to work in the kitchen, on a job. I always work. Some people may not know that we come to kind of get it. They work directly with them in the kitchen for their skill. Debbie has always done it with a smile, kindness, that love the mark. But that's how they have to do. One thing I'm going to miss is her summer. She would work 95 degrees in the kitchen, serving there. Always with a smile. I'd like to take the time to thank her service. I don't have to give the Lord have any more, which is all one separate thing. But as you said, it's a like chapter, maybe you know that. I don't forget you from joy, passion, all the nerve like it. These are good. And we're gonna.
CFP. Steve, please, the other two gentlemen, but I would like to acknowledge Kara for her years of service. I have been here for 5 of those years, and during that time, she has never once used to say we had guests tonight or hop on a bus to Wayne because he was short. Kara has been in skill with small ones, and she seemed to enjoy it. She seemed like a good fit. I'm hoping that her replacement will fit in as well. She has a temperament. She's going to be missed. I believe she has plans to take a little time and relax, spend some time in her garden, and it's much deserved. So, like the others have said, I wish to thank her in her absence. She's been a great help to me, and it is much appreciated.
Tenure. Troy. I'm gonna do combined tenure, also Troy and his AI check. Good. So hiring in 2020s is not easy. People are running away from education, and it's getting harder and harder with people. Every round of interviews you start is like playing a lot. You click on all lots, you never know your favorite. We posted a series of unfortunate events that included a new teacher on long-term leave a month after starting. John Summer, teacher Captain. And there was the Catholic in chiefs who was openly flirting with female students in front of them. So I don't show again because it led us to hire Troy Lee. Troy came to us for pain. Fuck, she didn't get it, so he knows. And he actually had a career in politics. And first, Troy came to the same conclusion that all the people who come close to our political system come up with this. Yeah, all the people are and so we started teaching. To say that we got lucky without Troy would be a huge understatement. He is, of course, most famous in the district for his work where he became the guru for the high school and the district together. The stuff he has done both in and out of the classroom is truly remarkable. He creates lessons. He created a website through AI to keep track of where students go during lunch. He's constantly seeking to improve his knowledge both for his students as well as for the district. His work is remarkable. And it really helps us move the district forward in a way far superior to many more schools in the region. I really hope he doesn't forget about me. It's his first building in the AI. It's a good video. But here's a lot more than just ancient side. Because beneath all the chatter about AI and his loud moving radio voice lies the heart of gold, filled with passion and love for our kids and for our district. Most people do not think of Troy Whitaker, they think of restored practices, but I do. Sit down with a kid who is upset or struggling in his class and conduct himself as a kind of sitting down, really listening, hearing them, and getting over a student where it may have been or difficult or whatever cases. In these interactions, he is exemplified what it means to be restored in the relationship with students. Troy puts his heart into all of the students. Not only does he have but I mean, most teachers do anything to help someone succeed. But Troy has gone above and beyond in a way that I never seen. He had a student someone that might be a champion for them. And when Troy was set up, they invited the student into his home and changed the trajectory not many people did that, but Troy did it because it's just the kind of guy he is. When we were in that moment, Troy didn't have to knew that the student was going to go. He said, no, this can't happen. I'm stepping up. It is truly remarkable. Now, as a parent teacher, I don't bother very often. And what I do, I don't buy books. It's understand the math behind the lottery. Just $2 or buy a new video game. But at the same time, I understand that winning the lottery twice has been more impossible. And I feel like I use all my lottery luck to baby my reward with it. So thank you for doing this. It's a pleasure to work again. Oh. No, you guys have so words having trajectory. When I first started here 7 years ago, one of the first things that really jumped out to me was the summer program. I didn't understand life
There's the whole day of kids and teachers having fun, building relationships, getting a chance to act. Really silly. It's just a wonderful way for the community to bond and step away from education for a day. That's not to say that, of course, there are not valuable lessons you learn from STAR, because there are. And every year, and a new opportunity for our kids to learn and grow. STAR days are just part of our school culture now. And Tracy was a big part of their early success, and they're continuing importance to our school family. Something remarkable is remarkable in districts. Now, the STAR program is something, but also Tracy's to that as one of the STAR teachers of this district. Tracy's always spoken to me about the importance of leaving a legacy. So I'd like to take a moment to try to examine that legacy Tracy spread over extremely illustrious career, and the tremendous impact she made on all of us who live in the district. Now, of course, it was talk about us, but that's only one part. As a business teacher, she always been at the forefront of how to move our school forward into all sorts of initiatives. And Charlotte doesn't get credit. And at classroom level, she's always opposed to the class. Never became interested in Lawrence, year after year, she comes to ideas in the program, trying to create new opportunities for our kids. She's not afraid to take a chance in order to bring students more value. Very great coach Tracy about doing distance learning, which is something that, a lot of people are a little hesitant about, especially when we're like here 28. So they're ready to So, many people are saying, no, but Tracy looks money and give it a go. And actually does with everything else. She did a great job. She had taught and expanded her own course on breakfast, college friends. It includes building the relationship with other colleges to make sure that our kids can maximize their college opportunities as well as opportunities in life. She has a valuable member of this community. When we began our community service program, Tracy was at the forefront of community partners and helped us to build a relationship in the program, even as we struggle with COVID and distance learning. And, I never started this stuff. I never rolled it. So, and of course, we began our Learning 2025 mission. Tracy was right there with me, eagerly on the academy. She was integral in helping us develop what our academy. Of course, our insight and expertise was extremely valuable to get into this academy over there. But really, it's how much to shape the course of what they can go through in this program. So Tracy, as a stand here and you hold your flag, and I thank you for this separate, but I want you to reflect on the legacy that you have built. Our STAR program is still going strong because the foundation is built by you. Because of your courses, students have even more opportunities for college credits and needed to learn more courses, and the academic program continues to grow. Because we work in community service, our kids continue to give back to the student community. And all of that doesn't even touch on the hundreds of young lives impacted during your tenure year. So really, from the bottom, thank you for all your service. I'm sure in retirement, you'll continue to serve because that's who you are. But maybe it'll be through other ways. Or in service to God, or really a combination of both. But don't forget to take some time to relax and watch a few good birds out there. Oh, done. That's you. I tried to learn a truck or it's not like, I tried in fifth grade and child class to be I was anyway, music teacher is such a unique job. It is the only position where the entire community is involved. You have taught your kids a particular set of skills. I mean, just imagine what would it be if you pulled all the into this auditorium and invited the community to watch them take their readings. That's what is just simply the reality of being a music teacher. And that's really tough. And I know that regardless of how many years Tim has done it, you still feel that pressure before every show. Of course, you would never know that. You would never know that. I watched the shows. Because on stage, Tim is always calm, collected, and professional. That dedication to professionalism is proudly on display by the incredible performances at every single one of our shows, both here and our music program is top notch. You can see it in everything we do, every class, every show, every report, the way our kids gush about our program. None of that happens by accident. It happens through years of hard work, dedication, and consistent and strong leadership. Through having a vision of what can be, and all of these traits are personified by him. But there is another element. That's something harder to find. But yet we all recognize that performance, and that is soul. Every performance, Tim gets up there and bears his heart and soul to the community. He puts it all out there for everyone to see. He is not afraid to cry, to show the kids how much they need to him. It's truly admirable. It honestly such a heartwarming quality, and it just adds an extra touch of love to every Canajoharie performance. And it's one of the benefits that makes our music program stand out as the best, and makes you stand out as the best. And there is no doubt Tim is the best there is at what he does. Running music, performing our community, all of this is from natural. At least I think. You certainly see Tim strikes me as a lover and a natural musician. But I want to know a side that's not as public or not as natural. As union president, I know and respect a different side of it. One that's not maybe in his wheelhouse much, but like everything he does, one he wears with great care to those around him. You see, Tim is not a natural, but as a union president, he has chosen to step out of his comfort zone and use his tenure at Canajoharie to find municipalities. In this position, he has a very good advocating for teachers on both sides of the and doing the best to resolve very messy situations. None of it is easy. And there is definitely Tim and I have been in this very tense situation. But those hard times have built a strong bond between us. I know that when it comes to I can always trust him to be fair, do what's right. Even when it's not easy, I can be open with him. And then we speak, and we always get to a resolution, and they are hopefully laughed about some of the things that we've been doing. This is not commonplace in schools. This is something we're very lucky to have. There are districts out there where the relation, union, and administration is ugly and contentious, but not here. And that is something remarkable that Tim deserves to be recognized for. That's not as easily on display as his performances. So thank you, Tim, for your years of service, always putting on amazing shows, being a strong union leader, running an amazing youth department. This curtain may be closed on the stage of your life, but I know the next time filled with more great adventures and wonderful memories. Thank you for all that. Michelle, come on down. So prior to coming here, I was a certified restorative justice trainer. And it was one of the main reasons I got hired. That, and the fact that the other candidate, first place running my position, in his final interview, told a joke to the board about a student sitting on his lap. Of course, with my background in restorative practices, Dr. Nick wanted Michelle and I to get together to merge my knowledge of restorative practices and our knowledge of consciousness. I remember talking to her once my first year, and made me immediately impressed. At our first conversation, I saw that we were very much on the same page, and I was looking forward to meeting with her to do something great for the district. But every time we tried to meet, something happened. One of our meeting days, there was a purpose. Another time, something happened like that. I leave someone to go along that. It really felt like the universe just did not want us to have our meeting. So we scheduled our meeting on March 18, 2020. Well, I'm just going to pull the pandemic, shutting down the entire state. Well, exact baby percent of people Michelle and I all blame ourselves for the pandemic, and it pretty much reaffirmed our belief that the universe did not want us working together. Lucky for us, Dr. did good. So despite the universe's best efforts, Michelle finally came to the high school. Didn't know too much about her. I had heard lots of great things, but as I finally getting to work with her, the reality of who she is was even greater than everything I had heard. Michelle is one of those rare who lives her values. For her, restorative practices is not just a thing you do at school. It is a set of values that guide all of her interactions. She treats everyone she meets with kindness and the utmost respect, and benefits from a person feeling biases, getting in the way of helping out the person in front of her. And on the rare occasion she does not live her values. All it takes is one sergeant, mom, being very started from sergeant to bring her back. She thinks everyone takes value and tries to understand who that person is, why they do the things that they do, and always seeks the best outcome for any difficult situation, of which she is involved in a lot. You see, she is not an addict, and she always must remind people of that. And sometimes the line can get blurred due to the nature of her job. But despite not being that, she must often get involved in situations that are generally reserved for people like me. And while she may not have the power to suspend people, she always has the power to reach them. It's funny, despite how long she has been in the district, there are still people who view restorative practices as dirty work, who shy away from doing a harm repair, and are reluctant to have difficult conversations with colleagues and kids. That uncertainty goes away as soon as she enters the space and starts doing what she does. She makes everyone feel like she's on their side. But the reality is, she is there to give a voice to all and find a way to move forward. They are trying to overcome. The ability to see both sides of the conflict, truly empathize with all parties, and genuinely want a solution that will resolve something in an equitable way is extremely rare. There is a reason that schools all over the country invite Michelle to train their staff. They all want a piece of American peace, but only we are not as part of our school family. She has had enormous impact on our student body, serving as many of their school moms and helping the kids deal with situations that honestly the kids should not have to deal with. But we can't change reality. She does not always have the answer, and she does not pretend that she does. I never look at her and pretend that I always have the answer. But what she does always offer is a space and a listening ear. That's what most people need. As educators, we want to be able to solve everyone's problems. It's just in our nature. But in 2026, kids have some pretty huge problems that we are to solve. That's a harsh reality that we have to face. Going to an educator who can solve our secure cancer, solve homelessness, or a parent who is abandoning their kids. I wish you could, but you can't. Michelle understands that. And while she always tries to help, the most important thing she does is always being present and offering true, genuine concern and empathy for every kid in front of her. That is more powerful than most people realize. Every single study on adverse childhood experiences proves that if a kid has been in trauma, has one supportive adult in their life, then that kid has an exponentially improved chance of being successful. And that's what Michelle has been for so many of our kids, in a way that most people will never see. And I have been honored to see over these past couple of years. And to be honest, it's not just for our kids, because she's also been that for me. Over the last 2 years, she's become more than a colleague. She has become my friend. We learned that we have many things in common. We are just kind of sweet guys. You know, we share so many similarities in our upbringing, our family structure. You know, most importantly, our values. Like, oh, Michelle, my sister from another mister. And as I personally struggle with what seems like a new politician every other week, that's what it's the role of. We don't understand. It's reassuring to know that I have someone that I can be authentic with and open up to my struggle. And someone who has my back and can pick up the slack for me when I've been going through stuff, when things are not so great. And that is more value than I can ever express. So thank you, Michelle, for all these service to our district, It's all we can do for the kids, the impact it made on all their lives, and thank you for being such a wonderful friend. You will truly be missed, but it's not going to see anything like so we excited.
Okay, I would entertain motion for recess. All in favor? Please feel free to go into the hallway and help each other up in the street. Sanction, please, if I can fix the tenure, staff down here real quick. I thank you. Thank you. So,
Oh. He looks fine. Oh. Well, the back.
Start walking.
please.
Yes.
So we can call the meeting back to order and looking forward to the history department report.
Right, I was given a strict 20-minute speaking guide.
Move toward your ass.
Any time, so. No, listen, in all honesty, it's nice to be here. We were just saying what a night of celebration and 10-year welcoming new people in and congratulating people for the next stage in their careers. So I'm fortunate enough to represent the history department. We have two great teachers who were able to join me tonight. Phil Schaff and Justice Parker, and two that were not able to make it to Newton County, and Terry Schwab. But we're going to run down what we've been able to accomplish this year. And we'll chronologically talk a little bit about the experience, both in the goals that we had as a department at the beginning of the year, vertically aligning, horizontally aligning, but overall giving the kids in Canajoharie a unique learning perspective in the field of history. And I think, based on the results, based on what you're going to see, I think I would put our department up against the history department. Anyway. So the first thing I'm happy to talk about is that we brought back a history club, which we've had over 45 kids join to be a part of. We did our annual October haunted house, which brought in close to $3,000. It was a great experience, not only for the kids and for us. It's a great time to work with the kids and to laugh and to bring money in obviously to the club, but it's also a great opportunity for the community to come into the school and to really see what we have to offer in terms of our extracurricular activities. So that was October.
We ended up taking a trip to the Capitol with our senior level government group. We wanted to bring to light some of the things we were talking about in the classroom, and what better way. I know some of our students have maybe even never been out of Montgomery County. So we wanted to show them some real life history, tangible history they can touch, they can feel, they can smell, and they can experience themselves. We had an amazing time. We were planning on going to Robert Smollen's office to see his quarters. We unfortunately, they had to cancel, but we plan on taking a secondary trip, maybe either if we can't do that this spring, then sometime the following year.
Yeah, additionally, at the beginning of the year, Dr. Fitzgerald always starts off with what his vision is for our school district and what he wants us to be able to achieve, especially with our student body as they're looking towards the next level. And the top image here on the left, you'll see a few of our students had the opportunity, and history department was blessed to be able to be a part of this, to go and actually present at the Capitol with Assemblyman
Could you
Patricia.
speak a little louder?
Yeah, with one of our Assemblymen, Patricia Fetty, they had the opportunity to present alongside students from Albany, students from Scotia, from Guilderland, from all these pretty large districts. And actually, I would say one of our standouts is right here. And there. Stood out, really stood their ground alongside these districts that are staples of the region. We were there at the table and participate. That's something that we in our history department really been trying to push for.
In what way did they stand out? What was it that they did that the others didn't?
Say, do you mind if I use you as an example? You've been very invested in our community, especially in solar issue, right? And he got to sit in front of her and this large group of individuals and discuss our community, what it means to Canajoharie, and how he's gone out and actually participated in this community by talking to community members and bringing that to the table to her and expressing that in a presentation in a speech format. It was really quite nice. And then seeing that she's at our board meetings recently, I believe last week, hopefully taking the voices from our community, from our students within our graduating class, they're maybe going to make an impact. Hopefully, that's the hope. It's something that we're trying to help contribute.
So we had the opportunity to speak at the national conference this past December. It's been an ongoing goal of ours to speak at a national conference, and I think it was roughly our first conference we've ever gone to together as a department. I think it was probably 2010 or 11. And once we got there, we said, look, we got to do this. We want to be part of the people behind the podium rather than the audience. So that's been an ongoing goal. We have officially now had how many Phil we gone to and presented at? 4? I think 4 national, a couple state, and a few more local. So what an incredible experience to be chosen to speak at a national conference and have people from all walks of the history realm all across the country to come in and talk about our podcasting and how we can use that and reach kids through the electronic device, which a lot of times we see as kind of a detriment, which obviously we all know it can be. But it was right during COVID, a student came to us and said, listen, I think you guys would be great podcasters. And we kind of laughed about it and joked about it. But then I got a text from Phil once we were locked down, and he said, look, the kids are home and our classroom is not. We need to bring the classroom to them. Let's start the podcast. So it was kind of one of those things inspired by a student for students. And it has recently exploded. We're now in, I think, 114 countries. I think it was the latest number with 38,000 downloads, something like that. But either way, our goal was to reach kids, and now we still have former students join there. Just talked about our latest podcast. We got a chance to talk about that and how to reach kids through not just the classroom, but beyond the classroom, which is one of our goals as a department for years.
This year also, we've taken on the task of taking the Regents exam again in January, and we found that we had incredible success. We were actually blessed, if you want to pick forward a couple, within our department to continue to add to our Canajoharie history department, raising the bar 100% up, right? Who we had the chance to add these 2 young individuals, great kids in our 11th grade cohort who are they're going to go on and do amazing things. And we really had a great standout across the board. As you see, again, these are January results. In my perspective, I think these are impressive in looking at June, but these kids have really locked in, and especially in the history department here, and stood out.
In March, we kind of had a unique opportunity. Albany put on a 3-day AI symposium, and it was only for Albany faculty, and there was a $75 fee that you had to pay, but fortunately we were able to work with some connections who were able to get us in. And the Child Research and Study Center was nice enough to have us on as people working with them. So through no cost to the district, aside from just having people as subs, the 3 of us were able to go and really get insight into how AI is being used at the collegiate level. And there was amazing stuff being done. In the top left-hand corner, there's a grad student who was explaining to us that she's developed AI equations that track negative comments made on Facebook and how much quicker they travel than positive comments. And in the bottom one, they talk about AI being used in mechanics, in helping people who have had certain injuries, certain diseases where they're not able to use certain parts of their body, or they have to have physical therapy. We heard from veterinarian students who have like literal life-size dogs built with AI, and they're able to go through and work on them if they were real animals and diagnose based on the symptoms that the AI generated dog was giving them. So to see AI from the collegiate level, to see how it was being used, at Uvalde, it's just, it was a different level of okay, where can we take it in the high school, and what opportunities are going to be available to our students, moving forward after graduation. So that was fun. This is really cool. So it's great to go places. It's great to bring in new ideas, but we're here a lot, and that's a good thing. How can we make learning in Canajoharie unique, creative, and fun for the kids? And we're going to give you 2 examples. We've done a joint lesson with Little Rock Central High School, the only school that is on the national registration for historic places. So I reached out to a Cameron Stella, who is a very, very nice woman. She's the librarian at Little Rock. And the first thing they did when I kind of initiated, I wanted to do this lesson with them and talk to students who attend Little Rock High School right now, the same place where they saw the desegregation after Brown versus Board of Education, was she told us about a memory project that her kids initiated, where they take all the information, firsthand accounts of the people who the kids knew, who they were related to, and pretty much documented. And she shared all of that with us. She shared a care package that these guys would play. It's absolutely phenomenal. They sent us all of this free stuff that relates to their high school in this crucial point in our history, obviously. And the art department has been gracious enough to give us 2 of the displays out front after their latest art event, that we will be putting that on display for the rest of the student body and the community to see. We've also, the students at Little Rock wrote us letters, and we passed that on to Mr. Iviscani and Mrs. Schwab, and there's correspondence at the middle school level. So we talk about that vertical alignment, civil rights. I mean, it resonates K through 12, 6 through 12. But so there's almost like a pen pal, old school feel to seniors at this historic locale working with our middle schools. So it's been invaluable. The other thing that's kind of cool, we reached out to Berlin, Germany. There's the Berlin Wall Foundation. And we asked if they had any pieces of the Berlin Wall that they could give us. And they were extremely gracious. And they sent us 3 pieces. So we have 3 pieces of the Berlin Wall in our possession. We had to sign a long-term loan. It'll be with us for 10 years, and then we can re-sign it. This is Mr. Shaw teaching about Berlin today, and tomorrow we'll actually bring in pieces of Berlin Wall that our students here in Canajoharie can actually see, feel, and experience. So, I mean, again, trying to give those kids those memorable moments. What did you do today in school? I touched a piece of Berlin Wall. I mean, how many other kids can actually see? So that's exciting. And our kids are responding amazingly. They absolutely love it. This is the best one. I'm going to trust this to talk about this.
Yeah, we've had an amazing opportunity this year where our big area econ class, our government econ class is aligned. And we're used it kind of as a trial run with a smaller group to see how we can integrate the content together. Everything that's government related tends to associate with something that's econ related. So we really jump forward with doing a lot of projects together. The kids are working, one obviously primarily focusing on the governmental side, the other primarily on the economic side. And from there, really, it's that skill building on the real life level, the content thinking that we're trying to focus on along the way. And it goes even beyond that.
Yeah, sure.
Where we're always in the history department blessed with the opportunity to be able to talk to each other very often, think about how we can integrate the ideas that the administration has, that the school board has, in a very meaningful way. One of the things that we've been able to do with the help extensively Dr. Fitzgerald here is start this guest speaker series. We have gotten together with the whole idea being college and career readiness. How do we prepare prepare our students to be competitive at the next level and make things tangible for the students. So what we've been doing this throughout the course of this year is reaching out to people from all walks of life in our community. Most of this is oriented towards, if you're coming in here, we want to know that there's a job aligned up for our student body, perhaps, or an internship that they could segue into, that if a student's interested, we've had a series of students, especially the Megan Myers here with the Amsterdam Mohawk, she offers a series of internship programs. Students have reached out to her, they've already set up interviews, they already have their internships set up, their foot's already in the door. We've had the opportunity to have politicians from our local region, especially with this very exciting 21st District House of Representatives position that's opening up. We've been able to have four of the top candidates come in actually and speak with our kids. From Robert Smolin, we didn't get to add him on here because AI is fun to edit, but we had Blake Genevieve in a few days ago, and he was amazing as well. And all of these individuals are coming in oriented with the idea of how can they offer something for our kids? How can they show us that there's a pathway, that this is a future career? It's aligned perfectly, in my perspective, with the corporate of the graduate ideals, the ideals of the academies. Hopefully this can segue into something maybe where we create a connection with these particular organizations, right? The Daily Gazette or Vanessa Lassi, who's a news anchor. Maybe she needs an intern, maybe she needs some assistance, and we can set our students along the way to get these unique opportunities that other districts aren't taking advantage of.
The last thing I'll touch on is that, what do we do when we have our department meetings and what's the focus? The focus primarily has been 6 through 12. When a child goes through Jody Wisconsin's classroom, what sort of skills are they going to use? What sort of ELA terms are they going to hear? What sort of history related terms? And so on and so on, 7th grade, 8th grade, all the way up through senior year in Pig and Econ. So we sat down collectively as a department, came up with our top 5 ELA terms, top 10 ELA terms, top 10 history related terms, and then the top 10 skills. And we developed working definitions that kids would understand. We assigned pictures to them, so the kids can use that portion of their brain. And then we created posters. And each one of us has a poster hanging in our room. They're hanging next to the portrait of a graduate poster. So that children, every year they come through these classrooms, get something familiar and it's something that constantly reinforces. You shouldn't need to look at the new school year as blank slate. You know a lot coming in. You'll hear the verbiage, it'll be familiar to you. There's a very high level of confidence. And it's something we initiated this year along with our writing prompts every Thursday, 20 minutes, whether you're in middle school or high school. That's consistent across our department. And I think we can look at our test grades, in particular, the ability of our kids to write. And I think we're starting to kind of reap the benefits, so to speak, of some of the things our departments have been implementing.
And if I could add to that too, we have to give a shout out to our special ed department because this is directly correlating with Caroline and some of the special ed needs. And she's one of the reasons why it inspired us to create, especially with having symbols to go with right brain, left brain, and having those examples in front of them.
And something as simple as having Caroline 2 doors down. Yes. One door. It's a team building. We're a strong team because of the members. We're going to set cohesive team. But moving forward, we're going to keep doing what we're doing, but we're going to continue to try and be creative. And that means horizontal alignment, as much as it means we're bringing in the arts, music and how it's impacted history, the arts, physical education, learning about different athletes and the role the Olympics have played. I mean, it's interesting for us. We are taking the initiative, but the most important thing is our kids are benefiting. We're getting great feedback from students. I think students, for the most part, enjoy our class. I'll tell you something interesting. We kind of switched gears after January's Regents. We used to say, hey, if you didn't get mastery on the Regents, you had to take it again. Right? So if you got a 74, congratulations, you passed. We're going to make you take it again. This year we said, listen, we understand that you have other Regents exams you have to take. If you got a 74, you don't have to do it. You're going to do a capstone project instead. But we'll give you the opportunity to try for the 85. And out of, I think there were 35 kids who passed, and maybe 25 that didn't get mastery. We have upwards of like 18 kids who on their own said, I'm gonna take it again. I wanna get the 85. So for us, that feels good because we're, challenge yourself. It's a mentality. And I think, I think that's a reflection of where we are in the building. So we're challenging kids and they're starting to respond.
I think the other thing too is as we close, I just want to point out too that we're all athletes. We love sports. And as athletes, if you're static, you're not growing. And if you're growing, then you're moving. And one of our biggest fears as a department, but also individually, career-wise, it's like we never want to be stagnant. So what we are continually growing on, and sometimes maybe at our fault, because it's at our energy levels are drained sometimes, but we look at each other like, how can we improve? How can we push on the gas? Like, let's go, let's push, and let's grow, let's expand our reach. How can we move to different areas where, hey, we push the kids out in the realms, like, we've never been here, so we're gonna go with you and really try to capture that athlete's mindset. Like, if you're not gonna make the next step, then you're only gonna stand still, and many times you're gonna regress. So one of the things we're trying to do is we're looking forward to the future. How do we continue to grow? We're looking towards maybe even doing some sort of TED Talk with our history department and taking over the track and doing we have some amazing presenters in our freshman and sophomore classes that only grow through Justice's class by the time they hit junior and now senior year, where we want to put everybody on display. Like, look at what our kids can do. So we were even considering doing a project in the following year where we take over the track and we do a symposium that we saw in UAlbany and transfer that into the high school level. Because I'll tell you, some of our kids would outperform some of those UAlbany kids in a heartbeat. And that's the competitive edge that we all have. And we want to, continue to push moving forward. So those are just some of those things that we're looking forward to, but hopefully we can do so and represent Canajoharie the best way we can.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So the next one will be the youth department presentation.
This will probably be shorter. Because it's just me. It's just me, and these slides are not really mine. They were created during our department meeting, but they kind of encapsulate what we do. If I can get this to right here. Move that around. I think I already have this open, but. Okay, so we used one of our department meetings, at least one, I think in January, I started talking about this with the department because I knew that in February, our trainer from BOCES was coming. And we had Shane Brinkman come, and she came and taught us about vocabulary acquisition. And every September, we look at Taboo and we look at our statistics from our state tests. And we figure out what our priority standards are. And standard 4 is vocabulary. And it kind of consistently comes up with something that students struggle with. And if they can't understand what they're reading or what the question is asking them, they have little to no chance getting those questions correct. So one of the things we talk about is how do we handle vocabulary instruction across grades 6 through 12. So this is an example of what Emily Cheney came up with. And she says that in 6th grade, this is kind of a common diagram It's very similar to like our prayer model that we use in high school, and you'll probably see that in a moment. So the students kind of select words out of, if you're afraid I'm going to trip right now. They select words out of whatever they're reading, whether it's an independent reading choice or a whole class, and they write them down, they come up with a definition, they use it in a sentence. And then as a class, they discuss the connotation, like associations with the word, synonyms and antonyms, and then they also incorporate sign language, which I thought that was really cool, to help them kind of connect to the word and be able to know how to use it. And then we kind of juxtapose this to what happens at the 11th grade. And we're all in between, like reinforcing this, doing similar things to help the kids learn new words. So this is an example of what Shelley Sims-Malika does in her 11th grade classroom. They go over, oh, and I think Emily also commented on tier 2 words. And Sheena briefly kind of clarified that for us, that tier 2 words are words that are super valuable to students because they're not content specific. They are words they're going to see across the curriculum that also maybe appear in the stories and whatever that they're reading. So these are like power words because they're going to help them everywhere. So Shelley has the students use a whiteboard and a dry erase marker, so that's kind of cool. No, not paper pencil, not computer, not a screen all the time. And each student receives a vocabulary word on an index card with a part of speech, and they have 3 minutes to make as many connections or connotations with the word as possible. And they take turns stating the word, the definition, and the connections they make. And then, as Shelley had cited, this assists building a deeper understanding of the words and their uses. Another big way that we're vertically aligned in the English department is through our writing program. And this page was created by the middle school teachers, and they focus on the 2-point response practice, which helps get their students ready for the state exam, which I think are pretty much happening all this month. School calendar. It's a lot of testing. So it's a short written response to a text-based question. You require a claim and strong evidence. You come through those terms again. The science department says is a probably something. So that's cross-curricular. And then it mirrors expectations that the students will face later when they take the 11th grade English Regents. And then school-wide writing alignment, the writing expectations are reinforced across all subjects in middle school, monthly, and in ELA weekly. So that's, and students consistently practice claim, evidence, and explanation. And the middle school ELA department created an instructional guide to support and implement this. And then this is kind of what Shelley's been working on, but we all do something kind of similar, even if we don't use this acronym in all of our classrooms. She's discovered this year claim, evidence, explanation, and link. And I really like this because I think if the students can remember this, they can remember all the steps they need to do when they are completing argument writing and they're trying to write clearly and explain what they're saying. Because they want to say what they mean. They want to also tell why it matters. Why is it important? And then she kind of outlines this just, so it's clear for people who may not be familiar with this. So the claim is kind of usually what you're proving or something, a statement you're making. The students use sentence frames like are illustrated in the example, like in whatever work the author utilizes and blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then you provide the evidence. So that's where the first E comes in. For example, the author writes and then you insert your quote and you leave your citation. And then you have to have the explanation. Without the analysis, like why is this quote important? You don't know. And we always tell the students, anyone can put quotes from text, but can they explain them? That's where we see the thinking. That's where we see the understanding. And then finally, there's the connection. So how does that relate back to the proof? How does that prove that? That's really important. And our aligned writing program, which we've had for years, we've been trained, we've always had a writing program, I don't know how many years ago it was, we did 10 or 15, we engaged in college ready writing. We still use remnants of that today. It might be called different things in that, like we call it the Harris moves. And we did the 3 ins to like introduce, insert, and illustrate evidence, but it's all the same steps. And it's working because in January on our regents, we had a 42% mastery and we had an 87%. And they, if they don't get an 85 in January. In June. So, and that should just make our statistics. So, and that's all. 42% mastery. Yep. We don't joke around. We're all about the grit in the English department.
This is being weekly.
Just click the next one, it's science.
Right. Take a walk. You can do whatever. No, like to go first.
You got it.
I do.
And it's done the right way.
Right.
Oh, we go here. What?
It's the time.
Oh.
Oops.
Hello, everybody. I'm Melissa Fisher. I'm pleased to be the science department chair. And with me tonight, I have John Sunderland and Troy Whitaker to present on the science department. All right, so, and we had our meeting talking about maintaining rigor at the middle school and high school. We noticed that there was a lot of similarities between what we are expecting of our students at the middle school and the high school. So we kind of combined everything. Only obviously at the high school, it's at a little bit of a different difficulty, higher difficulty. So we incorporate inquiry-based learning in our curriculum, critical thinking, use of evidence to support a claim. So like Beth alluded to, we do a CER, which stands for claim, evidence, and reasoning. So when students are required to make a claim, they answer a driving question using a sentence, and then they back up that claim using evidence from either a passage or a diagram, graph, and then they are required to provide reasoning as to why that evidence is going to support that claim. So it's very similar to what they do in English as well as in history. So we also integrate cross-cutting concepts, align with the standards, and we also incorporate communication and collaboration with other departments and between student groups.
So alignment wise, this says 612, it's actually, we can back that up to 312. Think of science as basically like 3 buckets. There is physical sciences that we would think culminate basically in physics and chemistry. There's life sciences that we would think of culminating in biology, and there's earth and space sciences, which we think are science and astronomy. So there's kind of those 3 buckets. And the way New York State has written their standards, I say New York State, there's the next generation science standards, which are the new iteration of standards. We've seen that roll out in language arts, we've seen that roll out in math, and it's now rolling out in sciences. And so the next generation science standards are national standards that have been adopted by most states.
We here in the Great Empire State have tweaked them a little bit, so we have the New York State science standards, but it's in those three buckets. So the science standards are written physical science, living life science, and then earth and space science. And they're written in three additional groupings, meaning there's 3-5 standards, there's 6-8 standards, and then there's 9-12 standards in each of those three. So long story short, as long as we all just follow our standards, we are vertically aligned. So this is where it gets really exciting, right? So like this would be like one example. It says MS, MSPS. So these will be physical science standards written for the middle school, and then the same standards essentially, but written for the high school. So instead of MSPS1, it's HSPS1. It's still the same chemical reactions. If we were to dive a little deeper, we have our three colors. Mrs. Fisher mentioned the cross-cutting concepts, but there's the cross-cutting concepts, the disciplinary core ideas, and then the science and engineering practices. And again, we could do a deep dive into that, but the point is, this is what it would look like in the middle school standards, and they look essentially the same as high school standards. Very similar groupings. We're just getting more granular as you go from the 3-5 to the 6-8 to the 9-12. So there's a lot going on in there, but again, as long as we all just sort of stick to our standards, we are vertically aligned.
So here are the electives that we currently offer at the high school. So we've got forensic science, which Mr. Sunderland teaches. We have college and high school anatomy and physiology that I teach. AP biology that Mr. Whitaker teaches. And then we have food science that Helene Schaefer teaches, applied physics that Henning Barrett teaches. Then we have 4 distance learning courses. We have dairy science, equine science, animal, and then marine science. These are all high school science courses.
So I was told that the board had a couple specific questions for the science department, and because we didn't quite know exactly what you guys were looking for, I asked guidance to pull the last 10 years of data and have sifted through it. And that concerned how many students are completing 4 years of science, and how many students are taking AP, and what is their primary path to get there. So I just want to point out that this analysis that I did does not include any information on food science, applied physics, or any of the distance learning courses. It's just the core science department offerings. And it covered about 664, 670 students that we've had over the last 10 years. So how many students complete 4 years of science? It's about 30%, give or take. We're looking at about 192 students total. 3 years of science at 195, 180 students at 2 years, and 97 at 1 year. 1 year, I don't know, can't explain. It's probably transfer students, other things that don't come in, and we don't have the data for. 2 years, it says actually in my data analysis, the average number of years completed is 2.83. You might know that you need 3 years of science at Canajoharie to graduate, so you might think, where does that other number come from, right? Food science, applied physics, and other things. It's people that aren't taking the 4-year science track, probably needing to do science in college, and they are our vast majority of students that come through the science department. So the average student, it says 2.86, closer to 3 than 4. The core sequence tends to be earth science, biology, and then chemistry regents. Then we have drop-off happens after chemistry regents. And then electives are the primary way students extend beyond the core. So you have many 4 and 5 year students. And you say 5 year, you only have 4 years of high school. What are we talking about? They double up. Okay, so they'll take multiple sciences, or the other option is that they take earth science as an 8th grader, and then they take the 4-year sequence here at the high school. Who takes AP biology and how did they get there? Talking about primarily AP biology, because it's the only AP science that we offer, and that was the question. AP and biology enrollment over the years, the lowest enrollment class was 6. It was in the class of 2024 cohort a couple years ago. And then our average size is 10. Now, I want to say that I went back to 2015, so I think the largest AP class that we ever had in the last 10 years was somewhere around 13 or 14, and it was the first year that I started teaching here. Other than that, it looked like the numbers, I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know.
24.
Did you? Okay, was it? Yeah, and that didn't show up in the data. That's probably on me. But it looked like on the most of the classes, right, 10, 11, 12, maybe a 13, and then a couple lower ones. So in the grand scheme, is enrollment in AP Bio overall lower than it used to be? Not much, not much. Science as a whole, in general, doing 4 years, a little bit, right? So that's something that probably down the road needs to be figured out as to why we're not retaining 4 years of science students. But so as it says, AP Bio serves a small but meaningful slice of the department enrollment, but it's stable, but it's modest. So the typical track to get there is going through earth science, biology, chemistry, so the cores. Chemistry is required for AP Biology. You can't take it without chemistry, so you have to go through that training. That's where you can kind of differ, and you can take the course of anatomy and physiology. Some will take physics, some will take forensics. Most take anatomy and physiology and maybe double up. That's where we're going to see that double up happen between anatomy and physiology, physics usually. I had one crazy student who told me today that she took anatomy and physiology, forensics, and physics last year. Or not physics, but chemistry. So she tripled that. So I was like, whew. Okay, so that's the most common path right there to get the AP Bio. So the last question was, are we considering any new AP classes? And the answer is not at this time. It would be considered after we came to a decision about merger. In the event that we saw a merger, then that could definitely be an option on the table, given a combined staff and staff interests. There are, I think, 3 or 4 more AP science courses that could be taught that aren't currently. So I guess we'll see pending that where we go from there.
This is a quick question.
Yes, ma'am. There is no teaching.
And earth science is still a big school?
Yes, and everything else. Yep. Any other questions?
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Keep it short.
Okay. Next one.
Don't forget me.
Oh, please, Marty.
I know I'm out soon, but.
Surprise.
You saved the speedy one for last. Hey, here we go. I gotta add some animation. All right, so 612, math department. Here we go. When it comes to vertical alignment, we go through, I think, a ton of standards since I've started. Before I was department chair, we even vertically aligned for Common Core, make sure that all of our stuff was revamped to align for that. And then obviously with the help, thank God, of some of our lovely tenured people tonight, as well as one of our sadly, well, left that, we redid and did all next gen. Major focus in vocabulary, because as English said, you can't speak or read what we're looking at, right? It makes it very hard to understand what we're doing. So we strengthen with vocabulary, whether it's gallery walks or posters, like they do in Algebra 1 and in middle school, or in Algebra 2 realm, we do a lot of vocab up front, have the kids look at it, share it out, talk about it, and make sure that we're verbalizing our math skills. All right. We also did a strength and like real focus on algebra skills, because algebra is, as many of you know, our one major Regents requirement for our kids to ultimately get their diplomas. So we strengthen our algebra skills in the 6-8 curriculums, really trying to help build a better and more structurally sound foundation to build from, which then will help them in geo as well as algebra 2, pre-calc calculus, or any of the other electives we have, whether it's statistics, college algebra, or intermediate. All right, we also added for 6, 8, algebra and geometry, some pre and post skills. So for each unit, the skills they should be coming in with and the skills they should be leading within our curriculum drives. That way, it was super helpful for Carol Ann, for any of our other special ed teachers to see, okay, this is what they should already have, strengthen these moving forward to try to help them understand what they're doing later on. All right. We also tried to vertically align grading policies loosely because I can't tell people what to do. That would be rude. But we do effort-based homework across the board as much as possible because if they don't try it, just like if you don't practice your free throw, you're never going to get any better at it. So the kids need to try the homework. We're not necessarily looking for accuracy. We're going to get through that and they're going to practice it. Now, percentage-based, our homework is not usually very high, but it's about practicing the skill so that way they can get it and hopefully nail it down once it comes to test day or once it comes to, future use. We also do test corrections for partial credit because our firm belief is to correct mistakes now. Moving forward, because everything builds on each other, you hopefully will continue to make those same mistakes. Everything constantly builds in mathematics, whether you're in algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, 6th grade math, it doesn't matter. Everything builds on top of each other. And if you never correct those mistakes, you're never going to move forward. All right. Rigor. Whew. IXL is, for anyone that hasn't used that, IXL is an online learning program. They use it 6, 8, and this year we use it in algebra. So the kids practice different skills that we can set for them as a teacher. They also can go in and pick skills that they want, which some of them do for fun. But they can ultimately push and improve their skills. So what we do, bless you, we do, well, at least in the middle school, they do quarterly diagnostic testing. In 9th grade, we do random diagnostic testing just to update them within our math labs. The kids really like to push their levels and see how far they can get, which is exciting for them. So in the middle school, though, they are meeting with them to discuss their quarterly grades. They break them down with them. And what I mean when I say break down, the example on the top right is what the kids see. After their diagnostic testing, it shows them where their levels are. Now, this is an example for a 9th grader. A little low overall. It's a little frightening sometimes when you look at it, but sometimes they just like skip questions, as we know from middle school test scores. They just like to push the button. It is online testing. So if it begins with a 9, it's 9th grade level. Begins with a 6, it's 6th grade level. Be really eye-opening for some kids. When they're like, oh, my measurement skills are at a 4th to 5th grade level. But it can be motivating for a lot of them to then be like, oh, look at these skills I can then work on. They're often, at least in the freshman class, very proud of their algebra skills when they're on point, which is nice. But I do know in the middle school, they're meeting one-on-one with students and talking to them about building their skills. Trying to make sure they have a better foundation to push them forward into upper level math, which is awesome. All right. I'll touch on that after. Building thinking classrooms. For anyone that doesn't know, I've gone to a whole bunch of conferences, Shelby, Danielle, with Rachel, previous years. It's based on a book by Peter Liljedahl. I had to ask Google how to actually pronounce his last name. But it's all about pushing the learning on the kids. Putting up a math problem and letting them figure it out, letting them talk it out, letting them verbalize it out. They use it a lot in Algebra 1, they use it in middle school, I use it in Algebra 2, in a little bit of a different format. Nonetheless, letting them develop their learning. It can be terrifying as a teacher, especially somebody that likes to control their classroom, but it's hugely beneficial for the kids. So I just release them and put them in groups and watch them go and see what happens, and I wander the group. They'll ask quick questions here and there, but for the most part, they can figure out the math, which is really easy. And then we'll bring it back together, have a discussion, make sure everybody understands what we're doing. You can even, as I've talked to Carolyn about, she will take pictures of their work and then share it out, because that ultimately does become their notes if that's the way they're doing, which is the more traditional. my kids like to write everything down because they're like little, don't want to miss anything, so they write everything down. So I don't necessarily always have to do that. But it's a really nice change up. It's hard to do every day, but it's nice to do for certain topics. All right, and then skill-based activities that they're doing down in middle school, props to them. They did like a crazy Super Bowl square bracket where based on the number of skills that they ultimately achieved, they got, say, a 1 ticket per square, or they got 2 tickets, and I think it was 5 skills to get a 1 ticket square, 10 skills to get a 2 ticket square. And they put restrictions on the grade level to try to help push the kid to achieve more, which was awesome. The like excitement and motivation levels that I got from Shelby and Danielle, they said it was an amazing turnout. And I know Danielle tried to do a March Madness bracket, which became more of a headache, but she was still trying to find something new to do. Questions? Good? All right. Thanks. Whew.
Technology up, doesn't stop. That's why I love that. Okay, we move on to reports. Student representative report. Take it away, David.
So we had the organization, which is like an anti-bullying act, sort of rated as trying to eliminate hopelessness in youth. And they came to high school, they gave a very interactive speech on bullying prevention, empathy, which they tied into the current state of modern health statistics for children and teens. And overall, when you bring in speakers and presenters, some percent of this is always, the risk that the kids don't resonate the message, it's not engaging. A big, right? Overall, school, this the event and the activities that we this were very well received students. Speakers who came in, Tom Murphy and Rick Yarosh. One of the students said, there's marks on the wall there. Good competition. Yeah. Student. And then after the whole assembly, they did speaking. There were starting Senate activities that hosted involving organizing school improvement efforts. So students came together in their star teams and they talked about things that if they had a chance to, they would want to have improved school. That also had great outcome. Plus, it's had great things to say and questions for each other. That was a there was also direct small interaction with our guest speakers. So we actually got in the room and talk with them and ask them about their stories because they really did have a very interesting story. So well received because challenges similar to regulars. The drum club finished the 3 days of performance as people. Last performance for seniors. They sent off. Very proud of the CFO track teams. St. Johnsville hosted contract the year that our track team is able to host big invitational events. A handful of teams. These big meets, so it's kind of like a special celebration of big team. It's invitation and all of that. Three students were awarded first place prizes. about it. Thoughts? And like touch some on street department presentation. Senior speaker series, we had Lake Champion, Democratic election, Damon Reese. This week last. Too long ago. It's really, we've had so many speakers coming through this, like just leaders and really foundational members of our community. And students really starting to see, like recognize things, both things. Positions on. That they met, interact, ask questions, story of how to be successful.
So that really secret from the point of view. So who are you thinking best?
They all offer,
Okay.
yeah, it's like, some of them had more long-winded speeches about. That's speaking directly to students, answering their questions, conversational. So I think all of them showed out. Talk about what issues with students. Discuss. Yeah.
Hey, any other questions, comments? Okay, thank you, Xavier. Okay, next thing is the superintendent report.
Just a couple things. One, this Interstate Superintendent Association, Federal Advocacy Committee, and they asked a few of us to go down to Washington D.C. this summer and go right into the chambers with senators and really advocate for education. Right now, the federal budget came up with $6.5 billion cut to public education, and get your support if you're okay with me going down there. I think it's a huge piece for us to reach out to the people down there. They've been doing it for quite a few years, but they're trying to rally a few more people to help, especially with this new budget coming. I'll fill you in as we go on that. That new budget does not look in place at all, and I know it probably won't stick completely, but $6.5 million for public education, even if it goes down to $2 billion cut in public education, is devastating for merger forms. We closed up all the merger forms. We had 3 or 4 meetings in each forum. Last night they met. We all met to go over the recommendations, questions. I really thought our administration did a phenomenal job of leading those focus teams with the help of collaborating with Board Plan as well. And it was really good to see the cross section of recommendations, which was pretty neat because it showed that everybody's kind of on the same page. So we'll have that presented on the 29th for everybody to have. Karen and I will go over, just the details on each one. We'll just give you a packet of what everything was, and what it'll be a great catalyst for us if we do vote in the merger. We'll be able to use that to kind of take off, right, for the following year and start to formulate ideas and concepts. So I think it's very well done. We've got a lot out of it. Rick Tinney is putting his presentation together, and met with Leah the other day for the last time, and he'll have his 5-year plan for us ready to go. I think this week we'll have pieces of it to start the forums, because our forums start next week, and then he'll have his full presentation.
When do they have this whole presentation?
29th.
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna get pieces of it to start to put in forums. We start next week. We have our first forum on the 21st. Then we have the talk with the superintendents at the 5S Diner plus the Village Diner, and then we have another forum on the 28th. So we have a lot going on in the next couple of weeks to kind of get the word out, get information out. Just to give you a heads up on grants, we were able to secure a $35,000 grant for Sweethearts and Heroes that we talked about coming in. They were get a $6,000 grant for our family swim program, a $7,000 grant to bring in a guest speaker, a $15,000 grant to do another guest speaker next year, and then a $112,000 grant to with the Jewel settlement that New York State got. Our county got $300,000. So once they said there was grant available, we wrote as quick as we could, and we put that in there. So we will have vape detectors in every bathroom in our middle school and high school. We'll also have some educational pieces built into it, and also some counseling available for students who habitually use them or part of the suspension, or they have to come back to school. Take a guess how much the big detectors are for the middle school and high school. What do you think? 82,000. So anyway, that'll be built in, and that was all for grant. We just finished a $340,000 grant too that was put in for school safety and prevention. We'll know by June 1st. And that has a lot to do with social, emotional, and also does some things like part of our SRO salary, plus cameras, some extra cameras that we wanted to put in with the building project, but we can put it in here and use other things for our building project. Hopefully, had an organization help me with that grant, writes grants for a living. So hopefully we put together a pretty good one. So in all due respect, that'll be another $500,000 in grants that we'll be able to pull in to help our district. And then our building projects, we'll be kicking off our geothermal project about 2.5, 3 weeks. We'll be starting to build our wells in the back. And then we'll start to do the rooftop units in our middle school to start. And then we'll work our way into the elementary school. I'm not going to go too far ahead, but I think we got some pretty good preliminary information on getting through those rooftop units a lot quicker. So there's a lot less disruption for our kids during the school year. And then we'll finish it all up next summer, and we'll have the full cooling and heating throughout now our entire district, which would be nice. And then also rooftop units and solar on top of the rooftops to offset the costs. And then the boilers, right? SRAM will go in with the building project next year. So all coordinates together to help a 7-year-old building get up to the next stage. That's it for the superintendent.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? By the way, I just want to say I was very relieved that the rooftop units would be helping to supply the energy for the geothermal, because they use a lot of energy, and I was thinking that it would drain our solar field, but apparently, it won't, so that'll be great. Okay, next is Finance Committee report.
Finance Committee, for the most part, we talked about finalizing the budget, something that we'll have to do tonight. Not really much of an event. Pull the budget up and do that. Change. Leah can kind of just go over it a little bit.
$6 billion. Tax cap is 2.6%. You don't have a state budget, so when the state aid change, you can adjust any of those figures.
They said 1%, definitely possibly 2%.
This budget is using
So even though the budget only went up like $85,000, still no revenue, so. Debt service is big savings because it's gone, so that's so much less than this year. That's helped us in health insurance. Health insurance is only going up like 1%, if that, and life insurance.
Nice job.
It's really helped us a lot. So
With a distinct possibility of going down 3%. Yeah, we'll let you know in the next couple of months.
yeah, so I mean, and there,
But we did take a hit on the Medicaid Advantage plan because of this federal laws.
so and attached, I believe, is like the entire budget detail that.
Any questions, comments?
Questions? I noticed in line 1620 that the water and sewer operation for the buildings increased %, but in the bus garage budget, there is no increase in water and sewer expense, and I was just curious why the bus garage. I think the bus. Scratch and water rates. We just had a meeting last night with the water rates, the minimum is gonna go down, so that. The minimum, and of course, there's. So.
Just as we got a little reprieve in solar and electric, we just got to keep up with it.
We skip ahead to the 2110s, the line travel and conference for K-12. Proposed budget of $12,000 there in the previous year. Yep, this year, so that's something new. This was the first year that we didn't do it out of the title. So we, instead of having to for.
We swapped them.
Yeah, because it's, and it's easier to have it in this budget, there's less paperwork for the grants.
The title grants right now, the follow-up and the questions.
Yeah, it's
They think you're gonna have all the PD set before the school year starts, and it doesn't work that way.
A couple of these, I know are large amounts. I figured the percentage on some of these, they just kind of stood out. High school phys ed supplies, an increase of 63%. For particular high school phys ed supply equipment. It's not in line with other departments of supply increases.
Yeah, because she's also trying to tell it, previously, the PE budget is somewhere between 1,200 and 2,000, something like that. And so that PE budget remains, but then the health folks themselves were, I think, 3,200 off the top of my head. That would be reflecting that change.
Almost done. In 2810, guidance, instructional salaries and non-instructional salaries, there's no increase. So from the shows 150,000 last year. Why we did not have a contractual increase? Or,
So what you're gonna start to see over the next
couple of years, the squeezing of the fluff, per se, as we try to circumvent, our loss, I guess is probably the best way to say it. So the fluff's starting to come out, which is good and bad, right? Because we won't have much to fall out soon.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. No questions, we'll move on. Thank you, Leah. Well, move on to approvals. I would entertain a motion for consent agenda. Motion. Second? So, okay, all in favor? Okay, we'll start with minutes. Any questions there? Moving right along to bills. I'm actually gonna be quiet. on this one. Treasurer's report. Okay, yes. Budget transfers, anything there? Moving on to transportation requests. Okay, the Charlton School. What is the story with that? Special ed placement. Shared services agreement, Gloversville City, School District, that's a transportation issue. Okay. Installation contract with Johnson Controls. This is for the geothermal project. Okay. Group bids for the carbon reduction project. Geothermal carbon reduction. These are all the bids that we found approved and move forward. Approve some new courses, which include earth science, introduction to personnel finance, marketing, and introduction to business and introduction to entrepreneurship. Anything there? Okay. Proposition of legal notice for the merger struggle. That will be on June 4th. Correct. From 12 to 8 at the elementary school. And adopt the 26-27 final budget. Thing there? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve. All in favor? Thank you. We have old business, upcoming meeting. It's April 29th, it'll be the joint meeting, at the high school auditorium. And also that same day in the morning, there'll be the DOE vote. BOCES vote, I was close, but not. Do that virtually. Yeah. Okay, and then on May 7th, in the regular, hearing, there'll be a budget hearing, followed by a regular meeting, and on May 19th, in the Eastern Library, a special call meeting, which would be to tally the vote, the budget. And I guess for the school board as well. So that's it at this. Any questions, comments there? Okay, moving on to new business. I just wanted to indicate that, as you know, the New York State budget has still not been approved. NISBA has a template that they're asking people to use to advocate for, to send emails to Hochul and our state representatives, urging them to endorse the NISBA priorities, which mostly would, and what I'll do is I'll share it with you all, and then you can just use that, and and then also I'll share it with you, Nick, and anyone else who might want to be interested in. The template is there. You just basically have to. You can add something if you want, but if not, you can just sign it and send it.
Mark, I just want to say something because that my son works in Congressman's offices and they said they never read those templates. They would just stack them up. Yeah, that's what they did. So if you wrote it specifically yourself in your own words, they would read them.
Yep.
So I mean, mix it up a little.
Well, they give you a spot to do that at the beginning if you want to make any your personal comments. So I think that might address that issue. But anyhow, I'll send it out and you can modify it as you will. Okay, then moving on to recess and executive session. Yeah, executive session. I entertain a motion to go into executive. Second, all in favor? Thank you. Good night, one and all. Okay, now, how do we?
There's a motion to approve an agreement with an employee, so we just need motion and second.
Motion. Second. All in favor? I don't know. It's just a follow.
Okay, so should I read it, guys? or Whatever.
You can read it. If you're-
So you resolve that the Board of Education hereby approves the agreement by and between the particular time identified in the executive session and the school district dated on or about second.
We had a motion by Patty and a second by Heidi and unanimous vote. You were not.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Okay. Bye-bye.
Do we have to